Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Today's question was suggested by a viewer, thanks to Phil P for this one. Amy attacks with two 5/5s. Nick lets one through unblocked, and he blocks the other with Myrkul. We'll say for the purposes of this question that Nick is at an interesting life total when this happens. That is, the 5 damage that he's taking is going to change whether he's above or below half of his starting life points. So, with this being the case, what will happen to the Myrkul? Alright, so the important fact that we're going to need in order to answer this question is that all of the combat damage is going to get dealt at the same time, as part of the same game event. So that means at the same time that Nick is taking 5, the Myrkul is also taking 5, and in fact, it's also dealing its 7. Immediately after this damage event, the game is going to check to see if it has to perform any state-based actions, like, for example, destroying a creature that's suffered lethal damage. At the time when this check is happening, the game will see that Myrkul has 5 toughness, and it also has 5 damage marked on it. But the Myrkul will not be getting destroyed. The reason is because, since all of the combat damage got dealt at the same time, if the Myrkul has taken 5 damage, that means Nick has also taken 5 damage by this point as well, which means that his life total is now below the threshold needed to put the indestructible ability on Myrkul online. So the Myrkul will be indestructible in time to survive being destroyed by the combat damage. Really cool trick. Now, Nick isn't out of the woods entirely just yet. That's because, if you have a creature that suffers damage, the damage generally is not going away until the very end of the turn. Which means that if Nick has his life total increase above that threshold, then the indestructible ability on the Myrkul will be taken away, but the damage will still be on there, which would be really bad news for Myrkul. If Amy can manage to increase Nick's life total somehow before the end of this turn, then she might still be able to get that Myrkul off the board. Now, there was one other question that I had come to mind when I was considering this one, and that would be, what might happen if one or more of the creatures involved had first strike? That would change what we said earlier about all the combat damage getting dealt at the same time, because of course, creatures with first strike deal their combat damage, well, first. So, if the creature that Nick did not block was to have first strike, well, that wouldn't really change the answer to the question at all. Nick would be taking 5 damage before the Myrkul, and so that means his life total would definitely be low enough to give the Myrkul indestructible by the time the other creature did its 5 damage to the Myrkul. And so the answer would end up being the exact same as the situation we had before. We get a little bit of an interesting twist though if we have the Myrkul blocking a first strike creature. If that's the case, then immediately after the first strike damage gets dealt, the game is going to check to see if there's any state-based actions that need to be performed. And at this point, Nick has not yet suffered his combat damage, because he's getting attacked by a normal strike creature. Because of this, the Myrkul will not be indestructible yet, and it will be getting destroyed. And that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again next time for another daily ruling, but until then, I hope you have a great day.